Imagine a world where Alexander the Great didn't meet an untimely end. What if he lived longer and his vast empire remained united? Alexander the Great, born in the summer of 364 BC, was the son of Philip II of Macedon and Olympias, a fiercely independent woman with royal blood. From a young age, Alexander showed signs of leadership and tactical genius, impressing his father's generals and tutors, including the philosopher Aristotle. By the age of 20, Alexander ascended the throne following his father's assassination. With the might of Macedonia behind him, he embarked on an unprecedented campaign of conquest, spanning from Greece to Egypt and as far east as India. His victories were swift and decisive, thanks in large part to his innovative use of cavalry and infantry, as well as his talent for exploiting the weaknesses of his enemies. Yet at the height of his power, Alexander's life was cut short. In 323 BC, he fell ill and died in Babylon, leaving his empire leaderless and in disarray. His generals, known as the Diadochi, fought amongst themselves for control, ultimately carving up the empire into separate kingdoms. The sudden death of Alexander the Great sent shockwaves through the ancient world. His empire, which had seemed invincible under his rule, was suddenly vulnerable. This power vacuum led to a period of instability and conflict known as the Wars of the Diadochi. The political landscape shifted dramatically as once subjugated nations saw an opportunity to regain their independence. But what if history had taken a different turn? What if Alexander the Great, the young king who had the world at his feet, didn't die at the age of 32? What if he lived to old age, keeping his empire united under his rule? How would this have changed the course of history? Now, let's delve into an alternate timeline where Alexander lives a longer life. Consider this, an Alexander who lives to a ripe old age, ruling his empire with the same vigor and ambition. With his leadership, the ancient civilizations under his command would have likely flourished in ways we can only imagine. Let's start by picturing the cultural exchange. Alexander's empire spanned from Greece to Egypt and as far as India. The potential for cross-cultural interactions would have been immense. Imagine a world where Greek philosophers debated with Indian scholars, where Egyptian artisans influenced Macedonian architecture, where Persian poetry became a staple in Greek households. The fusion of diverse cultures, languages, and ideas would have created a rich tapestry of interwoven traditions and innovations. Now, let's talk about philosophy and science. Alexander was a student of Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers of all time. Under his extended rule, the philosophical thought would have likely experienced a renaissance. Greek ideas could have spread further, stimulating intellectual growth in distant corners of the empire. Moreover, Alexander's interest in science and exploration could have ushered in an era of unprecedented advancements. Imagine new fields of study born from the melding of Greek, Egyptian, and Indian sciences. The arts, too, would have likely seen a magnificent bloom. With the empire's resources, artists from different regions could have come together to create, innovate, and inspire. The resulting artistic expression might have been a blend of styles and techniques, creating a unique aesthetic that reflected the diversity of Alexander's empire. And then there's the impact on governance and law. Alexander's style of ruling, combining elements of monarchy and democracy, might have led to a unique political system that valued both the rule of the king and the voice of the people. But what about the wider world? How would a united empire under Alexander impact the rest of the globe? A world where Alexander's empire remained united would have likely shifted the balance of power on a global scale. Imagine, if you will, a map of the world as it was known in the 4th century BC. Now picture the borders being redrawn, the centers of power shifting. In this alternate history, Rome, a burgeoning republic, may not have risen to its full glory. With Alexander's united empire standing as a formidable neighbor, Rome's expansion might have been curtailed, or perhaps it would have been forced to form alliances, changing the course of its history entirely. Then there's Persia. Once a mighty empire, it was brought to its knees by Alexander. But what if Alexander's empire had remained? Would Persia have been able to rise again from the ashes? Or would it have become a mere province in the vast expanse of Alexander's dominion? An interesting thought to ponder indeed. And let's not forget India. Alexander's easternmost conquest brought him to the doorstep of this ancient civilization. Had his empire remained united, the cultural exchange between Greece and India could have been more profound and long-lasting. Perhaps we would see an even greater Hellenistic influence in Indian art, philosophy, and science. But the story doesn't end there. A prolonged Hellenistic period might have meant that the Greek language, culture, and philosophy would have permeated further into the East. This could have led to a more interconnected world, with ideas, knowledge, and culture flowing freely across the borders of these ancient civilizations. Yet, it's important to remember that history is not a game of chess, with predictable moves and set outcomes. It's a complex tapestry, woven from countless threads of human ambition, struggle, and ingenuity. And in this tapestry, the empire of Alexander the Great stands as a vibrant but fleeting burst of color. But with great power comes great challenges. What hurdles would Alexander face in maintaining his empire? Let's delve deeper into this question as we continue our journey through this fascinating alternate history. While Alexander was a formidable conqueror, ruling a vast, diverse empire would not be without its problems. Picture, if you will, a world where Alexander the Great's empire extended from Greece to Egypt and from Persia to India. Such an expanse of land would have been unparalleled, and the diversity of cultures, languages, and traditions within its borders would have been staggering. The first challenge Alexander might have faced is the simple act of administration. Governing such a vast territory would require a sophisticated bureaucracy. How would Alexander manage the logistics of taxation, law enforcement, and public works across such a vast expanse? Would he have adopted a centralized approach, where power and decision-making would be concentrated in his hands? Or would he have opted for a decentralized approach, granting autonomy to local rulers and administrators? These decisions would have had a profound impact on the stability and prosperity of his empire. Another potential challenge would be maintaining unity among the empire's diverse cultures. Remember, Alexander's empire was not a homogeneous entity. It comprised of Greeks, Persians, Egyptians, and many other ethnic groups. Each of these groups had their own customs, traditions, and beliefs. How would Alexander have navigated these cultural differences? Would he have tried to impose a single, unified culture, or would he have allowed each group to retain their cultural identity? Finally, we must consider the ever-present threat of rebellion. With such a large and diverse empire, dissatisfaction and dissent would have been inevitable. How would Alexander have dealt with these threats to his rule? Would he have used force to suppress rebellion, or would he have sought to address the underlying causes of discontent? Of course, these are hypothetical questions. We can only speculate on what might have been. But they serve as a reminder that empire building is not just about conquest. It's also about governance, diplomacy, and the delicate balancing act of maintaining unity in diversity. Alexander's longer life and a united empire would undoubtedly have left an indelible mark on history. As we gaze back through the lens of history, we can only speculate about the what-ifs. The narrative of Alexander the Great is one such tale that captures our imagination, inviting us to ponder the potential of a world shaped by his enduring reign. Today we've journeyed through a reimagined history, a world where Alexander the Great lived a longer life and his empire remained united. We've explored the potential impact on ancient civilizations, the possible global power shifts, and the inherent challenges of maintaining a united empire. Alexander's influence was profound and far-reaching. His strategies and tactics are still studied in military academies. His vision of cultural fusion was far ahead of his time, leading to a blending of Eastern and Western cultures that we now refer to as Hellenistic civilization. This was a period of remarkable advancements in science, art, and philosophy, with influences that continue to resonate in our modern world. Imagine a world where this fusion of cultures had continued under Alexander's rule. The boundaries of knowledge and understanding may have been pushed even further. The political landscape of the ancient world might have been fundamentally reshaped, with the Macedonian Empire remaining a dominant force for centuries to come. In our world, however, Alexander's untimely death at the age of 32 led to the fragmentation of his vast empire. His generals, known as the Diadochi, fought for control, ultimately dividing the empire into several kingdoms. These divisions laid the groundwork for the rise of Rome as a dominant power in the Mediterranean. Yet, even in this divided state, the Hellenistic influence continued to leave its mark. The cities founded by Alexander, such as Alexandria in Egypt, flourished as centers of learning and culture. His legacy lived on, shaping the course of history. While we can only speculate about this alternate timeline, one thing remains certain. Alexander the Great's impact on the world is undeniable, even thousands of years after his death.